Hello, everybody. Welcome to my show, The Expendable Show. So we've had an exciting week full of congressional hearings. The House Senate's and the House Intelligence Committee. And then we had the Senate Committee. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle testified, if you want to call it that. And then Christopher Wray testified today, and he is currently testifying as of right now. So he's in his second session of testifying. Now, I'm going to go over, kind of some of the highlights of this, because these things, like they last 3, 4, 5 hours a session. So we really need to understand that this is a long, drawn out thing. A lot of these guys will ask the same questions over and over and over again. But I want to start with former, since Kimberly Cheadle now has resigned from her position as director of the Secret Service. So we do now know that. But she basically didn't answer anything. She pawned everything off on the FBI and said, well, we're waiting on the FBI's report, or I'm waiting on my report from, whoever in the Secret Service. She did not reveal that she had any answers. Now, notice I said reveal. I think she has answers, but she doesn't want to reveal them. They caught her, if you watch her body language, you can pretty much tell when she's lying, which is just about on every question. She's not a very, very good testifier. They didn't prep her very well, whoever, if there was prepping, which I would be willing to bet there was. Somebody called her and told her what to do. But what impressed me about that hearing was the amount of bipartisan attacks. It wasn't, I was expecting, especially in the House Intelligence Committee, with like AOC and Jamie Raskins on there, and like Ro Khanna, and like some of the super like idiotic morons in our House. I thought this was going to turn into the Trump brought it on himself kind of hearing out of them. I thought it was going to be just an attack on Trump the whole time, but I was highly impressed. I have nothing bad to say about AOC's questioning to the director. I have nothing bad to say about Jamie Raskins in this hearing. I have nothing bad to say about Ro Khanna and some of the other liberal clowns that were in there. I thought they were blunt. They were to the point, and all of them asked for Director Cheadle's resignation, which I was happy with. However, we all know how the liberals play, and chances are this was just stage acting. They really don't give two shits, but for political reasons, they have to show some sort of sympathy towards the life of President Trump. If they didn't, it's all bad. You can't wish death upon people. At least not in politics. So there, I was pretty impressed with that group of people. And then you go into some of the conservatives, like Marjorie Taylor Greene. She flat out asked her, like, were you complicit in the assassination attempt against Donald Trump? And that's where there was, like, you saw some ticks. Which for me, with the background that I have, shows me nervousness. She didn't know how to answer, and that tells me whatever the answer was going to be a lie. So she said no, obviously. Lauren Boebert had good questions. There were. I thought Jeff Sessions did a good job. There was a lot of good questions being asked in that hearing. But for the most part, she deflected everything to the FBI and said, well, ask the FBI. That's not really us. So, and my questioning for her is, what do you know? Or what are you willing to tell the American people? We pay your salary. Like, what can you say? But she didn't say much of anything. She was also asked, so I didn't pay too much of attention. I watched most of it. But One thing that I noticed, I mean, she answered every question pretty much the same, but I paid more attention to the types of questions that were being asked because each conservative House member on that committee asked another leading question that was leading me down a theory that they were all going to. Um, which obviously is they believe that she had some knowledge prior to the assassination attempt of Donald Trump. The questions all led there, and that's what they were accusing her. One of the other questions was about her using encrypted apps on her personal phone. How would they know that? But she said no at first for a specific one, but then they asked her if she used any other ones, and she said, "Well, yeah, I use them to talk to other, diplomats and stuff." Which is almost the same thing as Hillary Clinton using her personal server as for government business. So I think she falls under those statutes in her decision to use her personal phone to talk about federal government issues. So I have a problem with that. I think she is definitely part of the problem. She couldn't even tell the committee who signed off on the perimeter and of the protection plan. She couldn't say any of that. She couldn't tell us how many shell casings. That was one of the questions that was asked. And to me, that's a significant question because when I've watched the assassination attempt over and over and over again. I've probably seen it 100 times. One thing that I noticed personally amongst the melee of the foul, there's so many things to notice in that. The more you watch it, the more things you notice. But one thing that stuck out to me, and I remember it the first time I watched it, I thought, well, that don't sound right. This doesn't sound right. And I've grew up, shooting guns. So I've grew up around, my neighbors shooting guns. I know what gunfire sounds like, and I know what different distances a gunfire sounds like. So that's that. I detected 3 different ranges of gunfire in that, and I'm not a ballistics expert or a firearms forensics expert or anything, but I just know what I heard. I heard 5 rounds, then I heard 1, and then I heard 3 more. And 5 rounds came initially, and then the 1 round came from a different distance. And then the last 3 rounds, I feel like came from a completely different distance than the other 2. So, I mean, you can kind of tell from the decibel levels. If I had the technology, I could probably show you what those look like, that they would in fact be 3 different decibel levels. But unfortunately, I don't have that kind of technology. I'm a broke ass dude. So, but I do think that there potentially could have been other parties involved. I don't want to stamp myself on that because I do believe that I could be wrong. So I'm not going to jump out there and say everybody run with the conspiracy because it's just a theory right now. And I'm hoping that as this investigation goes on, that we will find out a little bit more of what's factual with that. And I think that House is the Intelligence Committee is going to put together an investigative team of their own to look into these things. So I'm excited about that. I think with the line of questioning that I saw in that hearing, I believe that they are motivated to get something done. Jim Jordan did an awesome job with his line of questioning. I thought he was very to the point. So we have that section of the hearing going on. And well, I mean, it's continued now. Then it's discontinued. But Kimberly Cheadle did resign the next day or 2. I can't remember, but she resigned shortly afterwards. And but she potentially could be facing some things. I don't think there was anything. She didn't answer any questions, so she didn't really lie to Congress per se. But I do feel like she's going to reemerge eventually. I'm sure they're going to have more questions for her. They have appointed an interim director. I don't know nothing about this dude, but I was talking to my dad the other day, and he's looked into this person, and supposedly they're more of a Trump hater than Cheadle is. And we all know Cheadle was friends with Jill Biden, so that's pretty well known. That's why the Bidens wouldn't fire her. So now I want to go into the Director Wray of the FBI, his testimony. Now, he came a little bit more prepared, which is abnormal for him, because usually when he testifies, he does the same runaround. I don't know. I don't have that information with me. I never heard of that. That's what he usually does, because he's a coward. So we're going to go into that a little bit. Now, the line of questioning for that hearing, which I remind you, the second half of that is still going on. I'm missing it right now, so I have to replay it and watch it later. So I don't know what's going on in that one right now. But the liberals basically, so the line of questioning was different on both parties. I thought it was a little disingenuous on both sides. How the liberals used it to lobby for gun restrictions and to get Wray to, talk about Project 2025 as Priam Jampal, or whatever the hell her name is. It's that communist. She was like dead set on the domestic threat to America, Donald Trump's dictatorship through Project 2025. Oh my God, over and over and over again. I'm so tired of hearing about Project 2025. The liberals are going to be really pissed when they realize that's not what they're going to use when Trump's president. They're going to be super pissed. But to go on, then on the conservative side, I thought the Republicans in the committee, they got off topic. Like they were trying to defend guns and defend this and defend that. That's not what that committee was for. The committee was to grill Wray on what he knows and ask follow-up questions so we could get some information. And it's crazy because Wray was very willing to answer some things, which, like I said, is abnormal for him. Usually he dodges everything. So I was kind of impressed that Wray answered questions. Now, whether he was truthful or not, I highly doubt it, because I don't feel like that man knows how to. I think he lives in bullshit world and don't know how to tell the truth no more. He's so far up the elite's ass that he's just not capable of properly leading an unbiased investigation. The guy's got an agenda for sure. Wray did say there's no motive. They haven't figured out a motive yet, which is a crock of shit. He says there's only one shooter, which I'm up in the air about. He also said, so this is one of the points that I want to touch on here. So he said that they're struggling to get into all of his devices, that he had, I think they said eight devices, and they haven't gotten into all of them because of the encryptions. I call bullshit on that highly. Anybody in the tech world that is capable of getting into encrypted files can tell you it does not take very long. I have a source that is capable of that, and they said that is the biggest lie that he told of the day. That encrypted files are not hard to get into, especially when you're the federal government. I mean, that's what they do. They hire the best hackers in the world to work for the government. This isn't. It's a 20-year-old kid with supposedly just an average life. The guy worked in a nursing home. What could he possibly know about encrypted files? So that's one I have an issue with. I would almost put a paycheck on that. Wray deliberately lied with that statement. Because then, if you watch other news other than the shitty news in America, Russia, Putin was quoted as saying, "I hope they plug that phone in because I'll have it," and he probably does. You know, if Russia can hack it, anything, the CIA, the DHS, we can get into a fucking phone. Like, come on. Okay, so another thing that they've brought up is that he has foreign accounts. They did say that one, maybe more, were Swiss accounts. So as you all know that follow my page, that I wrote a book about Switzerland and the things that happen in Switzerland. So in my research for that, I did find that so the Swiss banks are protected by secrecy, which is why so many people like to use them. Nobody knows how much money anybody has in there or whose accounts they are or the money wires that come and go all day, every day out of those bank accounts. However, for a show of faith, a few decades ago, the Swiss banks all decided we will let one entity audit us whenever they want, but only for criminal investigation purposes only. Guess who it is? The United States IRS. So for Director Ray to say, well, we just don't have access to those accounts. Lie number two, because all he has to do is call the IRS and go, hey, I need Crooks's shit from Switzerland, and they would have it in 10 minutes. So that's lie number two. So now I've found two major lies that they're trying to stall us on. They want us to think, and he even said it in his opening statement. Well, some of these we may never be able to get into. Come on, man. Come on. We can build fucking AI war robots. Like, don't try to play me. Don't try to play the American people. You're full of shit, and we all know it. So there's his banking info. They've also been hinting that there may be an international connection to him. I saw somewhere where they hinted at Iran. I don't buy that at all. It's easy to point the finger at Iran because they're the ones that are kind of paying attention to us the most right now with the Israel-Gaza situation, which I'm about to tell you is about to escalate, just so you know. So Eli Crane, he's a representative out of Arizona. He did a really good job in his interrogation of one of our military generals and talked about sniping and because Eli Crane was a sniper in the Navy SEALs, and so he brought up a lot of really good points. He had an impressive line of questioning. So there's some things transpiring, and I know I'm probably missing some key points from what's going on right now, and that's fine. I'll report on those if anything major pops up that I notice. So when we look at this kid, the Crooks kid, and I'm gonna call him a kid. He's only 20 years old, man. Dude's a kid for sure. So what we have with him is when we really think about the whole gist of him and what we know about him so far, he had an AR-15. He had two cars on the scene. He had a bike. He had explosives, which the Ray said, I don't know nothing about no explosives, which whatever. And then he also managed, out of all the places there, picked the perfect vantage point to take a shot at the president. The only hole that was in the plan, he magically found it. So I don't buy the FBI's story that that this was just a lone shooter, a deranged kid that got bullied in high school and decided he was going to shoot the president. I think this was coordinated. I think that he had a drone that he'd been to the site several times. The kid was doing recon, and he knew where to put. I believe that he was going to take the shot, blow the car up to divert attention to the blown up car, and then he was going to make his masterful escape. But it didn't. His plan did not work out. They also went through his home. They said that his home, it was extremely clean. There were no silverware. There was no trash there. They said it looked like a safe house. They said it was so clean, it was like a medical lab. So I just have a really tough time with this. The story, like all these little facts that come out, and some of these facts are coming out through whistleblowers. I need everybody to understand that there are whistleblowers. So then that's where I think the House Intelligence Committee got some of their line of questioning from, is because they have whistleblowers. Guys like Dan Bongino, he's got Secret Service whistleblowers. Other federal agents are whistleblowing. You're getting a lot of whistleblowing going on. And that's good for the investigation, because if we don't take, if the federal government's involved, there has to be a major accountability for this. It's almost going to be to the point where we're going to have to tear apart a lot of these federal agencies and say disband it and rebuild with a whole new hierarchy of people, because you're not going to be able to trust them. Also, one of my posts that got a little, or one of my shorts that I posted that got a little traction was about polygraphs. So every federal agent in the United States government, when they get hired, they sign a paper that says that they have the option, if ever asked, for random polygraphs or non-random polygraphs. That if they do have the choice whether or not to do it or not. However, if they reject the polygraph, they are suspect to termination. So why have we not polygraphed these people? Why, if the polygraph is an option, why are we not using it? If we're going to make these guys, if that's such a serious thing, we're going to make them sign a contractual piece of paper that requires them to take a polygraph or suggest that they should take a polygraph, then we should be polygraphing them. So I don't understand why that's not happening. Now, I understand polygraphs are not foolproof. They are subject to the objectivity of the polygraph examiner. So, I mean, it is not foolproof. However, if you catch these guys unprepared, you will see the difference in their responses. That is how polygraphs work. It detects all your irregularities that change from question to question. That's how they tell if you're being honest or not. So what we have to do is, we have to, let this congressional hearing play out, let the rest of these investigations play out. Trump's going to be fine. They've increased his security. He has more Secret Service assets around him. The Secret Service has asked him to stick to indoor rallies. And so he's speaking as of right now in Charlotte, North Carolina. So he is indoors. So it does seem like maybe he's taking their word. And that's a good idea. I think we should, if at all possible, keep Trump indoors. However, I do have issues with indoor events because they get crowded and congested. So if something does happen, it's easy for someone to disappear. So that is my one issue with indoor venues. President Biden is due to speak tonight here pretty soon, I believe, in about a half hour. So we will be getting the official whatever the hell he's going to say. We don't really know. He could get up there and go, "Oh yeah, well these assholes want to push me out. Well, guess what? I'm still the fucking president, and I'm going to run for president." And that would be epic if he did that. I'm not going to lie. It would put the Democrats upside down, 100%. And it would be like watching a nuclear warhead go off. They wouldn't know what to do because Kamala's already stole his campaign money. So there's that. So I'm excited to see how this is all going to work out. And I don't want to say that because there have been, 2 people were shot and 1 person was critically injured. I don't want to see people lose their lives. I don't want to see people get shot over elections. I mean, I understand that this election is probably the most important election in my lifetime anyway. So I don't want to see people, go through these things, Corey Campitor, the guy was a hero, but he didn't have to be. He should have been able to sit there peacefully with his family and watch the president speak. But instead, we have this going on, shots fired all over the place. And then we have so many security failures that nobody wants to answer for. Nobody wants to say who dropped the ball. Then we got the guy in the gray that they got pictures of. Somehow, magically, this dude from the ATF just happened to be there and is on the roof telling everybody what to do and saying, hey, send me pictures of the dead body, which is the pictures that I do have. So I'm not sure where my source got them from, but I do have those pictures that the ATF agent has. But it doesn't make any sense. Why would how could that ATF agent be there that fast? Or what was he doing there? What is going on? Then there's the conspiracy theories. I mean, I've watched the water tower video several times. It does. I'm not going to lie. It does look like there's a shadowy figure on top of there. And then there's another clip where it looks like somebody might be like scaling down the side of the water tower. And then Google Earth, ironically, has blocked out a bunch of stuff on that site. So I'm not real sure what's up with that, what they're trying to hide. But Google Earth is definitely trying to cover something up. I don't really have any theories on that. Google Earth does whatever Google Earth does. So then we have the whole debacle with this whole Kamala Harris thing. So I'm going to go back and talk about Project 2025 for the 8 millionth time. Nobody's using Project 2025. So if you're a liberal and you listen to my show, you're a moron for listening to anybody tell you that Project 2025 is the plan. I literally watched Donald Trump in his Grand Rapids, Michigan rally, like earlier on on the weekend, where he said, I am not using Project 2025. It's too radical. And then today, just before I turned the podcast on in Charlotte, North Carolina, Donald Trump said, I believe that we should, we want an abortion ban, but except for rapes, incest, and birth defects. So there's part of their argument is gone because Donald Trump has now gave in a little bit and said, hey, we're going to still want to do the abortion. We want to do anti-abortion, but we'll do them for these situations. So that takes away their entire talking point on abortions because that's what they were using as an excuse to get abortions legalized. So that way everybody can be sexually irresponsible. And because most of those specific scenarios like incest, rape, and birth defects is a very small minority of the statistics involved in abortions. Most of them are because they're unwanted pregnancies. It's a fact. You can go Google it. You can go look it up. You can get mad at me and send me more death threats. I don't give a fuck. But that's the fact. Now, I did make a parody about it in one of my shorts. And I said, hey, how about let's just go pro-choice as conservatives across the board, and that'll take out 90% of Kamala Harris's attacks on President Trump's presidency, because that's all they have to run on is the abortion situation. And the abortion, when they got rid of Roe v. Wade, that worked out well because you can't have a nationwide ban or a nationwide allowance of abortions one way or the other. You can't do it nationally. You have to do it the way that the Supreme Court set it up. They said, we're going to ban Roe v. Wade because this isn't a federal issue. This should be left to the individual voters of each state. So the constituency should be who gets to decide. So if you live in New York and you live in a blue state, you're going to have abortions. You're going to be allowed to have abortions. But if you live in, where I'm from, well, I don't want to say that because I'll use that as a third example. So if you live in, North Dakota, you're probably not going to have abortions. It's going to be an abortion ban. Now for Trump to go out there and say, well, maybe nationally we should set a minimum. Let's allow for these specific scenarios. That's fine. I'm okay with that. But leave it through the individual states. Let the voters decide how they want their state to manage the abortion issue. Should we have it or should we not? Well, what do the voters want? And that's the way we'll go. Now, Ohio, where I'm from, is a little bit different because Ohio is a dominant red state. However, they voted to allow abortions. Okay, so in Grand Rapids, Donald Trump brought that up. He said, hey, look at Ohio. It worked out. He said, it's a Republican state all day long, but they want abortions, so they get them. Good for them. And that's the part that you liberals are not understanding, is that it doesn't, your little minority doesn't get to dictate the rights of the citizens of each individual state. Do you understand? I hope you all understand that. It's not your decision how each state governs. It's the constituency of the state that gets to decide who governs, how it's governed, and the laws that apply to it. So everybody just needs to take a damn chill pill. Let the states do what their constituency requires, and it'll be okay. And then if you don't like it, like if you live here in Georgia where we have an abortion ban and you want to get an abortion, go to Dick's Sporting Goods, walk up to the front desk and go, I would like to have an abortion. But Georgia doesn't allow it. Dick's Sporting Goods has offered to transport you to a clinic in a state that allows abortions on their dime. So they'll take you to fucking Tennessee and you can go have all the abortions you want. So, yeah, it's redundant. It's a redundant issue. It's an issue that we should not be arguing with anymore. But the pro-abortion people want to argue. They want to fight it till the death. Move to a state that has abortions then, or stay close to one where you can just transport across the state line. Like, it's not that difficult. They're making it such a personal issue. Yeah, it's a personal issue for you. Your body, your choice. Okay, I get it. Well, go take your body over to a state that has fucking abortions and get an abortion if you want. Ain't nobody fucking stopping you. And if you're in Los Angeles, you shouldn't say shit because you can have fucking abortions every day if you want. That's what I don't understand. The California people are out there protesting the abortion, the Roe v. Wade. Well, y'all are in like the most pro-abortion state in the country. What are you crying about? So we also have Benjamin Netanyahu in our country today that spoke to Congress today. You had idiots silently protesting because they all want a ceasefire, but what they don't understand is Benjamin Netanyahu is not going to give a two shits about your silent protest, and he's not going to give two shits about stopping the war on the people that are attacking Israel. So you can bark up that tree all you want, but Israel does war. Your protests have no bearing on them. It's a country that they do war. It's what they do. They choose violence. And, Palestinians do the same thing. They choose violence. Hamas does the same thing. They choose violence. The Houthis do the same thing. They choose violence. Hezbollah chooses violence. Iran chooses violence. And it still blows my mind as to the people that are out there, trying to back up these groups over there, the Free Palestine people, and they're flying, they're flying Iranian flags, they're flying Hamas flags, they're flying Houthi flags. Like, do you guys understand what those people will do to you? You're supporting people that will kill you. If you're gay and you go to Iran, you will be dead. Period. You are supporting the most anti-gay areas in the world. And that's what you see the most of protesting out there. Stupid ass college kids that get brainwashed by their stupid ass college professors. And when they get into the real world, then they get a big smack in the face and realize that the shit don't work like my college professor said it does. because you're trained to be a stupid, dumbass activist. So don't be a dumbass activist. Use your fucking brain when you go to college. Like, that's what you're supposed to go there for. Activism's stupid. It's stupid, flat out. I'm gonna say it. I don't care what you're protesting. You can protest something that I'm for. I think it's stupid. Protesting's pointless. Go do it all you want. So it's just a problem solver. So they say. I don't see nothing happening over there. There are no ceasefires happening. Y'all are in the streets every day protesting somewhere, trying to pick fights with the NYPD today. That's not gonna work out for you. I promise you that. And then you're gonna be sitting around when the cops finally have had enough and somebody oversteps the boundary and they beat your ass. You're gonna be sitting in the streets crying, well, I didn't do nothing. Okay. You know what? Technically, when you start shit like that, it's technically borderline RICO case. Where you at, Fawny Willis? Get on that one. Oh, why are you on the shooter's phone? That's question number 2. Why is the shooter's phone pinging in Huntsville, Alabama? Why is the shooter's phone pinging around FBI offices? There's a lot of people that have a lot of questions to answer, and we better get them. We better get some answers. There's only so long we're going to get lied to, and we can't get lied to about this. The plan failed, and I think the circus has yet to start. I think we just got the opening fireworks. So I don't know for sure, but I just have this feeling this isn't over. When Kamala Harris's excitement bump in the overall polls go down, it's because Trump's up on her in most of the polls by almost 2 points in the overall, which I don't really go by the overall polls because they don't really mean shit, because that's the popularity poll. What I look at is the swing states, and Trump's up by like 5 to 8 points in every swing state. So if we had the election today based upon the polls of each individual state, Trump destroys Kamala Harris. And so the liberals are going to get excited over this like overall poll, which Biden has been winning. If you all don't remember, Biden has been winning the overall poll by like a point. But now Kamala's in there and she's now losing the overall poll. So that tells you that the swing states are going to, the margin of victory for Trump is going to get bigger. So you can learn a lot by looking at the polls, but don't get excited over that overall general poll, because that one is just a popularity poll. It's the individual state polls that matter, because that's how you get your delegates to win. So yeah, you might get 80% of the people in California to vote for Kamala Harris. Well, that's going to jump your overall poll numbers up. But in reality, all she's getting is the delegates from California, which there's a lot. But Trump's going to make that up with the swing states and surpass the amount of delegates required to win the presidency. That's how the Electoral College works. And when Trump wins the Electoral College but loses the popular vote, like it happens every time a Republican wins, they're going to be calling for to disband the Electoral College, and it's going to be stupid. We're going to go through all the stupid shit as soon as Trump becomes president, because that's what liberals do. They go straight to stupid. We didn't get what we wanted. Let's burn something down. But this time, I feel like people are going to go down in flames with it. I feel like things are in motion to make this government purify a little bit. So I'm waiting to see how the next few days transpire. I think we're going to have more things come up, some major things. Seems like every couple of days something major is happening. So with Biden talking tonight at 8:00, that's going to be interesting. I feel like we're in for some fireworks there. If it's just a boring speech, I'm going to be highly disappointed. I feel like he's going to get up there and go, I'm still running for president. I don't know who said I wasn't. That would be so funny. You're going to watch my TV will blow up. So I'm going to cut this short today. Shauna was sick today, so she wasn't able to be on the show. I hope she gets better. Uh, Um, I'm actually going to have to turn into an official Georgia resident. I sold my house in Ohio. Well, I didn't. We're under contract, so I'm actually going to have to be a Georgia resident now, which sucks because I hate standing in line at BMVs. It's boring. Got other things I'd like to do, like live life, not stand in line at BMVs. And the lines here in Atlanta are insurmountable. I hate them because there's so many people here. Wish they'd moved my plant to Puerto Rico. But that is going to be the end of my show today. Sorry, it was kind of boring. There's a lot of factual things that we had to get through with today with the congressional hearings. I just want everybody to be educated on what's happening because no one's going to sit down and watch those, so they depend on people like me and like YouTube. And, if you don't have time to sit down and watch it for 5 hours on regular TV, you're not going to watch it for 5 hours on YouTube. You're going to skim through it. And I'm just a moron that will watch a lot of stuff because I'm lame. But I want everybody to be safe. So we are in a tea kettle right now. And as soon as somebody turns the heat up high enough, we're going to boil over. And I don't want that to happen. I absolutely don't want that to happen. But I think we need to prepare for it. Everybody buy cases of water, buy your canned goods. Always have that stuff on hand just in case. If I'm wrong, fantastic. I'd rather be wrong. But if I'm right, I want you all to be prepared. I have stocked up. I am ready just in case the power goes out or anything. We get hit with the EMP. I'm ready. So everybody be safe out there. Know where your children are at. It's a crazy world out there. God bless everyone. Hope everybody gets a good night's sleep tonight. All right. So that is the end of the show, and I am out. Peace.